Welcome back to A Course in Miracles in Practice. I'm really grateful we can spend this time together to dedicate our focus to living these lessons, what it truly entails.
It is a joy to have you with us. Today we're undertaking an exploration of Lesson 315, and it's a particularly rich and I think advanced point in the workbook.
That focus today is on Lesson 315, which states, "All gifts my brothers give belong to me." We are approaching the end of the workbook, which is really something. It means we're building on, over 300 previous lessons?
That's right. We're really learning what it means to genuinely live from a place of shared awareness instead of, constant personal striving.
Absolutely. And this lesson feels less like philosophy and much more about application.
It is. It asks us to integrate everything we've learned about the oneness of the mind and to apply these teachings directly right into our daily lives and our relationships. The lessons are truly coming alive now.
As we get into this exploration, we always want to encourage your participation. If these concepts or maybe some of the examples resonate with you, or if you have questions about your own practice, we really do want to hear them.
You can email us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
We also invite you to share your discoveries about how these lessons manifest for you.
You can find us on TikTok at The World Harmony Project. Sharing what you learn really helps all of us understand the depth of this work.
Right. Let us begin, as is our custom, by reading the lesson itself. We'll read it slowly and clearly, just allowing the message to settle in.
Lesson 315. All gifts my brothers give belong to me. Each day 1,000 treasures come to me with every passing moment. I am blessed with gifts throughout the day, in value far beyond all things of which I can conceive. A brother smiles upon another, and my heart is gladdened. Someone speaks a word of gratitude or mercy, and my mind receives this gift and takes it as its own. And everyone who finds the way to God becomes my Savior, pointing out the way to me and giving me his certainty that what he learned is surely mine as well.
I thank you, Father, for the many gifts that come to me today and every day from every Son of God. My brothers are unlimited in all their gifts to me. Now may I offer them my thankfulness, that gratitude to them may lead me on to my Creator and his memory.
When I first encountered this lesson years ago, I fell into a trap that I think many of us do when we begin this study.
What was that?
I restricted the definition of gifts to my own personal desires. I was so focused on what I wanted from specific people, their approval or a deeper understanding from them, appreciation for my efforts.
I think that's a very human starting point.
Mm-hmm.
We're conditioned to see receiving as a direct transaction, almost like a handoff of some desired thing or an emotion from one person directly to another.
Yes.
We look at the lesson title and our first thought is, okay, if my brother gives me a compliment, that compliment is mine. It's very literal.
Exactly. But the Course is describing something infinitely broader and so much more powerful. It's saying that even things you never saw as being for you still belong to you.
Because of the shared mind.
Because of the shared mind. And that just shifts the focus entirely, doesn't it? It moves you from expectation to recognition.
That is the crucial pivot. And when we talk about shared mind, we're talking about a concept that's, I think, far more unified than just a group consciousness or some kind of telepathic connection.
And it's more fundamental.
Right. You could almost imagine the mind as a vast collective cloud network. Every terminal, every individual mind is a part of that single network.
I like that analogy.
And every piece of data, so every thought of peace, every single decision for love that's registered by one terminal, it instantly updates the entire system.
That is a perfect way to put it, because the mind is shared. The experience of goodness isn't limited to the person who just happens to be involved in the immediate exchange.
So the moment you observe kindness between two other people.
Right. Maybe you see someone help another person in a store or offer a seat on a crowded bus. Something opens up in your mind, a recognition.
And that recognition is everything. It shows us that love is active, it's moving through the world, and it's completely independent of whether we are personally involved in that specific moment or not.
It confirms that the principle of love is functioning. And because we are part of that shared mind, we are participating in that functionality just by seeing it.
So recognizing this goodness Even when it seems external to our immediate life, that is precisely how we claim our inheritance.
The recognition is the acceptance of the gift. It's us recognizing what the Course calls our shared inheritance. The simple truth that love just extends itself automatically. It includes everyone in its movement.
It's like a universal law then.
Mm.
What's true for one part of the mind, what's gained in truth by one part, is instantly the possession of the whole.
Instantly. And we see that natural response mirrored in the world all the time, even if we usually miss the deeper spiritual significance.
How so?
Well, people naturally respond to shared happiness. We celebrate love wherever it appears. You smile when you see families reuniting at an airport.
Or when you hear a story of someone recovering from a really devastating illness, you feel a sense of relief, even joy.
And why do we do that? It's because those emotional responses, that shared elation, that vicarious sense of healing, they're part of our shared nature. We cry during stories of deep reconciliation because something in the shared, deeper part of our mind recognizes and just celebrates that return to wholeness.
We want to believe in goodness.
We do. And those external events, they serve as temporary proof of what's already true.
So if we accept this mechanism, then we don't actually need to witness kindness firsthand to know that it continues. I could be sitting alone, maybe dealing with a difficult personal challenge.
Yes.
But the awareness, just the simple awareness that goodness, that peace, that loving choices are being made somewhere in the shared mind right now, that can bring peace to me.
That awareness is incredibly powerful because it brings us to a real shift in how we view connection itself.
You stop looking for the big dramatic signs.
Exactly. You stop waiting for them and you start noticing the subtle connections that are just everywhere. A neighbor waving, someone holding a door for you when they're in a hurry, a thank you said with real sincerity by a cashier.
These small moments start to stand out. They become this undeniable evidence of the quiet current of peace that's already present.
And when you begin paying attention this way, the entire world starts to look, well, generous.
That understanding builds a profound, internalized gratitude. We stop waiting for the world to deliver the huge signs of love we think we need.
And we start seeing that the world is already full of countless small, steady moments that reflect what is true in the shared mind.
This leads directly to the question of those big worldly examples, which can sometimes, I think, confuse the issue a little.
They can. The lesson says all gifts are shared, and it's easy to picture that through moments that seem to lift everyone at once. Events that draw this temporary global focus to our inherent connection.
Right, those moments that give us a kind of temporary worldwide spiritual boost. Everyone followed the news about Captain Sullenberger landing that plane on the Hudson River.
And everyone followed the Thai cave rescue story.
Yes, those were exceptional events. People everywhere felt connected through this sense of shared gratitude, shared relief, and a belief in this heroic goodness.
And those events are important. They demonstrate our natural desire to recognize shared good. They prove that the mind wants to celebrate peace and unity and shared safety.
But I think we have to slow down here, because this is where the deeper insight of the Course comes in, and where it differs from just, being grateful for positive news.
That's a critical distinction.
If the gift is only the external event, then that feeling of goodness is temporary. It just fades as soon as the next crisis hits the news cycle.
Exactly. The Course is describing a kind of giving and receiving that begins in thought and keeps extending through the mind itself, regardless of any physical action or even visibility. Those large public moments only hint at what's truly happening underneath perception.
So if I'm understanding the reversal of cause and effect correctly, which is so central to this lesson, the true peace isn't caused by Sully landing the plane safely.
No.
Instead, it's the peace that's already in the mind that allows us to perceive the landing or the rescue or even just the neighbor's smile as a confirmation of the truth we already hold.
That is the precise reversal. The real communication of peace is continuous. The sharing begins inside through the thoughts you choose and your willingness to see differently.
So every time we accept peace, every time we choose love over fear in our own private moments, that decision strengthens the entire shared mind.
And the world gradually, sometimes subtly, reflects it back to us in countless ways.
This raises a point that I think many listeners struggle with, and it's vital to the depth of this exploration. How do I distinguish between genuine shared peace and, say, just intellectualizing pain to avoid dealing with real suffering?
That's a fundamental question of advanced practice, for sure.
If I see a terrible event, like a natural disaster, and I'm told that peace is still active somewhere, how do I accept that gift of peace without falling into denial about the reality of the suffering on the ground?
The answer lies in the distinction between the level of effect, which is the physical world, and the level of cause, which is the mind. We are not denying the disaster or the suffering. That is the objective experience of the ego in the world.
But the gift of Lesson 315 operates at the level of cause.
Correct. The gift is not the absence of the disaster. The gift is the awareness that the light of the victims and the helpers, the core innocence of every son of God, remains completely untouched by the physical event.
So the peace that's accepted first in the mind, that becomes the cause of every peaceful perception that follows.
Yes, and gratitude shifts fundamentally here. It moves from thanking the world for changing the objective conditions to thanking the mind for seeing truly, for recognizing that the cause of every gift immutable peace is already inside us, just waiting to be recognized. So the awareness that someone somewhere is choosing love or forgiveness or just resilience in the face of that disaster, that means the capacity for those very choices has been strengthened for me too.
Yes, it's a shared strengthening of our spiritual capacity,
Yeah.
regardless of your physical location or your emotional involvement in the immediate event.
That shared strength is the gift that belongs to me.
Yes. The world doesn't dictate our peace. Our peace, when we accept it through this deeper awareness, dictates what we choose to see in the world. And that's why the Course insists that this joining we're talking about, it isn't rare or mystical.
It happens every single time we let a thought of love replace a thought of fear.
That decision to choose love, however small it seems, that is the connection point. It moves us from the separation we feel daily back into shared awareness. And it strengthens the shared mind for everyone.
That's practical, it's
Right.
profound, and it's happening continuously. This concept, I find, becomes much clearer when we apply it to specific, really challenging relationship dynamics. Situations where the idea of a gift seems initially, impossible to accept.
We have shared a couple of powerful stories before that I think illustrate this shift perfectly.
The first one involved a family member named Chris. Chris was struggling very deeply with addiction, which led to a devastating break of trust.
Chris stole money from the family.
Yeah.
And the situation that followed was, as you can imagine, just defined by denial, real financial loss, and significant emotional pain. The trust was completely broken.
The initial reaction, which is so understandable, was deep anger, betrayal, and this feeling of having been profoundly wronged. The family was just stuck in the pain of the effect, the theft, the loss, the violation.
They were looking for Chris to change first, to make amends, return the money, basically, to provide an external gift that would somehow fix the external problem.
But the internal piece, the gift Lesson 315 speaks of, it began to return only when their focus shifted entirely away from forcing Chris's external behavior to change.
Instead, the focus shifted to establishing clear, loving, and non-negotiable boundaries. Boundaries that protected both Chris and the family.
That clarity was the internal gift, and it belonged to the whole family unit. It took a tremendous spiritual effort to move from the judgment of Chris is a bad person who hurt us to the clarity of Chris is suffering and needs a boundary to ensure safety and enable healing.
And that willingness to see past the behavior to the underlying fear, to see through the pain to the innocence.
Yeah.
That was the true gift that was shared.
And it was a gift because it wasn't just for Chris. By setting a boundary that served peace, the family's anger began to fade. Their emotional and spiritual energy was freed from that entanglement of codependency and resentment.
So they received the gift of clarity, the gift of safety, and the gift of recognizing the immutable innocence of the person behind the addiction.
That clarity strengthened their own mind. It became a new, accepted understanding of how to handle conflict in the future. That is the gift shared by the brother. Chris's struggle, when it was used by the Spirit, resulted in the family's acceptance of a deeper, more peaceful form of love.
One defined by strength, not by sacrifice.
Precisely.
Then there was that second story about the parents whose adult son lived at home and kept breaking or losing things, and he would just shrug off the responsibility.
Right. And the ongoing frustration in that home was palpable. It wasn't a huge crisis like the theft, but it was this slow, continuous drain of resentment.
The initial dynamic was classic blame. The parents felt disrespected, unappreciated, and just increasingly angry that they were constantly cleaning up after careless mistakes.
They were waiting for the son to suddenly become responsible. They wanted him to give them the gift of his maturity.
And the gift appeared when the parents shifted their own perception from blame to teaching. They realized their own anger was just reinforcing the cycle of resentment.
So instead of reacting with passive aggression or even outright fury over a broken dish, they began guiding him through the process of repair and responsibility.
They moved from demanding maturity to actively teaching responsibility, but without resentment and without feeling like martyrs.
So if he broke something, they would calmly outline the steps for fixing it or the cost of replacing it, and they participated in that process as guidance, not as punishment.
And the change in their perception brought this immense ease and harmony into their home. The gift wasn't that the son instantly became meticulous. The gift was the parents' internal willingness to drop the resentment and embrace their role as guides rather than as frustrated victims.
That willingness changed the whole atmosphere of the home, which was a gift for the son, for the parents, and for the shared mind that they all belonged to.
Both of these stories are so vital because they emphasize a critical point. The gift does not come from the external event itself.
And it certainly does not come from the painful behavior of the other person.
It comes entirely from how we allow the Spirit to use the event. It comes from within. This internal acceptance might show up as understanding or a burst of patience you didn't know you had.
Or even the strength to set a boundary that serves long-term peace. These are all internal gifts that we choose to accept, and in accepting them, we share them universally.
And this is the miracle. Even if the other person, Chris or the son, doesn't seem to change their behavior right away, the psychological separation we imagine between us and them has already started to dissolve.
It's dissolving within our own mind. The gift is the recognition that peace has been shared and accepted. And that recognition begins to change how we see everyone we encounter. The gift is always peace.
That is what makes that phrase, "My brothers are unlimited in all their gifts to me," finally make perfect sense.
Yes.
It's not about a limited supply of external goods or compliments.
No. It means the light, the awareness of truth in each person remains, even when fear and confusion hide it completely, like they did with Chris's addiction.
And when the Course discusses light, it's describing the immutable reality of our being. The memory of innocence that no mistake, no theft, no careless action can ever erase.
Innocence here just means that the core self is untouchable by error. It's like a clean hard drive that can't be fundamentally damaged by bad software.
So remembering that inherent light, that core innocence, in just one person, even one who has caused immense pain, helps us remember that same immutable light and innocence in ourselves.
It's a shared truth. The moment one person's light rises, everyone is blessed because the mind is one.
This is why the gifts are unlimited. They include every single act of kindness, every decision for patience, and every honest effort by anyone, anywhere, to see differently.
Even growth you never witness, growth happening on the other side of the planet, strengthens the whole collective mind, because the change has occurred at the level of cause. Giving and receiving just continue through everyone, continuously strengthening the shared peace.
So let's turn this powerful principle into a practical daily exercise. For today's practice, the goal is simple, but it does require some dedicated intention.
Notice one moment of goodness that does not involve you directly.
This could be anything that confirms the activity of love in the world. Observing a fleeting moment of connection between strangers, maybe reading a positive story about resilience in your community.
Or simply noticing a beautiful natural interaction that speaks of perfect order.
Let that moment of observed kindness count as your gift as well. Claim it. fully. Hold it in your awareness for a few seconds. Don't just dismiss it as nice.
Acknowledge it as a profound confirmation of truth, and recognize specifically that it belongs to you because it reflects the same mind you share.
It's not an isolated event. It's evidence of the shared truth, and it's strengthening your own capacity for peace.
This practice keeps gratitude alive, and it moves it beyond personal thanks into a kind of universal recognition. It's how the Course trains us to remember we are part of one mind that blesses itself continuously through the choices made by every person within it.
Lesson 315 really is a declaration of abundance. It teaches us a fundamental truth. Love extends endlessly.
Every act of peace or kindness, no matter where it happens, adds to what we all share. Nothing given in truth ever disappears. It's preserved, it's magnified, and it's instantly available in the shared mind.
And when we recognize these gifts coming to us from everyone, separation just loses its psychological hold. We stop seeing ourselves as isolated units who are dependent on individual transactions.
Gratitude becomes our natural and continuous way of moving through the day. Aware that the world continually mirrors the inherent truth we offer it, just through our willingness to truly see.
Thank you for joining us for this exploration of Lesson 315 of Course in Miracles in Practice.
If you have reflections or questions about how you are applying this lesson, please email us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
And you can follow us on TikTok at the World Harmony Project to continue the conversation and share your own discoveries.
Until next time, remember this. Every expression of love anywhere in the world already belongs to you. But the real challenge is living as though you already own that unlimited inheritance.